Although Trump and Zelensky did not sign the minerals deal, if it happens, it will represent a critical juncture in international relations, blending economic strategy with geopolitical tactique. By granting the US access to Ukraine's rare earth minerals, the agreement could reshape global power dynamics, particularly in the US-China rivalry over critical resources. While Ukraine hopes to secure long-term American support, the lack of explicit security guarantees raises concerns about its impact on the ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict, with potential implications for NATO, European policies, and global market. Questions arise about its effect on alliances and whether it could redefine the international order or give rise to a new one. Welcome to In Depth. US President Donald Trump described his meeting with Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky as not good. Speaking to reporters in Washington, Trump stated that Zelensky must explicitly declare his willingness to negotiate a ceasefire. Zelensky had sought a White House meeting to secure continued US support and dissuade Washington from aligning with Russian President Vladimir Putin, who ordered the incursion into the Ukraine 3 years ago. However, US President Donald Trump and Vice President J.D. Vance criticized Zelensky, accusing him of disrespect, underscoring how the shift in US administration has weakened Kiev's efforts to sustain Western backing for its conflict with Russia. Negotiations between the US and Ukraine over a mineral deal has been broken down after a tense White House meeting. According to the Christian Science Monitor, the proposed deal aims to jointly develop Ukraine's mineral resources, but security guarantees from the US are absent, leaving concerns about Russia-Ukraine war. While Zelensky managed to lower the US demands for Ukraine's mineral proceeds, fears remain that the deal offers insufficient security for Ukraine. US officials suggest Europe should take responsibility for defense, potentially reshaping transatlantic relations. Despite no guarantees, the deal could position Ukraine as a key economic partner with the West, potentially weakening Russia's influence. However, security concerns persist, particularly with the NATO membership off the table. President Trump and Ukrainian President Zelensky have been meeting in Washington to sign a minerals deal aimed at reducing US reliance on China, but the deal broke down. The Newsweek stated that the US has spent years working to secure critical mineral partnership with allies to reduce China's dominance over global supply chains. Australia, Canada, and several African nations have been key players in this strategy. China isn't standing idly by. Chinese firms have expanded their presence in Africa, investing heavily in mineral production across the continent. In a pivotal moment for global geopolitics, the minerals deal between Washington and Kiev has sparked intense debate about its implications for US-China relations, the Russia-Ukraine conflict, and the future of international alliances. Today, we delve into how it might reshape the balance of power and redefine the contours of international order. For more analysis, we're joined by Dr. Ashraf Singer, a world politics analyst from Cairo, and Mr. Ivan Yuas, an advisor at Ukrainian National Center from Kiev. Good morning, both gentlemen, and welcome to Q News and to In Depth. Professor Singer, let me here start with you. And what are the key goals of bilateral minerals agreement between Ukraine and the United States?
Yeah, the U.S. has long been interested in securing access to the minerals of Ukraine or rare earth minerals. Ukraine would, of course, would like to invest mutually with the United States, not really give access to the United States to control the Ukraine minerals. Uh, that's it, no. So basically, China, Russia, Europe are also interested in securing, the Ukraine minerals. But the point yesterday in that meeting between Zelensky and Trump announced long time ago, has announced long time ago that he is really interested in that deal to restore back, what the U.S. spent in Ukraine-Russia war. He gave an estimation about this $350 billion dollars. Of course, Zelensky, rejected that figure. But yesterday, one of the major problems, actually, in that meeting, that Trump brought, the minerals deal with the peace deal, but both of them, they are different. So it seems to me like Zelensky was under huge pressure from Trump and his Vice President Vance. So this is why Zelensky left the White House without signing that agreement with Trump. And second, the peace deal, Zelensky, he felt completely that that pressure is not from one of his ally. That pressure is coming like from Russia. So that Zelensky and Ukraine under war. They met Russia many times, to achieve the peace deal, but both of them, they didn't reach that deal. So it seems to me like yesterday, it wasn't a good day for America or for the White House. It was a bad day, particularly after Europe gave that huge support to Zelensky, and they were saying, Germany, France, Finland, Sweden, all the UK, Australia. So all of them, they give Zelensky huge support, and they told him, you can rely on us. Don't be scared. We're gonna to secure that kind of peace deal with Russia. Is not you are not only by yourself. So it seems to me like, of course, the mineral resources. It's really important of Ukraine. It's really important for the United States that matching what we call it, the tragedy of the common, the tragedy of the common. This is one of the theory. If United States fail to control that, rare resources in Ukraine, probably China or Europe or Russia. So this is why that deal, Trump was really interested into taking,
Yes.
that word and that signature from Zelensky yesterday, but he failed.
Well, Mr. Yuas, what specifically led to contention between President Trump and President Zelensky regarding the mineral deals and the broader peace efforts with Russia, given that before Mr. Zelensky go to the U.S., he was very much aware with what he will be confronting?
First of all, good morning to you, good morning, guests and all audience. Actually, about Ukraine and mineral deal, I want to mention the fact that first time Ukraine created this idea approximately in October 2024, so the month before US election, because we understand that we need something to interest President Trump and to exchange for future support of Ukraine security guarantee. But when Trump come to power after inauguration, he say, okay, let's sign this deal, but I will not give you anything from my side. So you give me minerals, I give you nothing. because he said that, it means that it will be secure, but without direct guarantees. Ukraine said no, they should be guaranteed, and that was the reason of, first of all, quarrels during the preparation period to this deal, and finally, what we saw actually yesterday night. But the draft of the deal that should be signed from 11 articles, for me, it was not look like a deal. It rather looked like a memorandum in which sides mentioned about the deal that should be signed a little bit further. So in several probably days or months, who knows. But nevertheless, it was such a feeling that Donald Trump needs some show to demonstrate, first of all, not to Ukraine, but to Europe, that Europe, you're now without our support, you are alone, please make more investment in your security and think about your security, because US will not think about that like it was since the end of the Second World War. That was, for me, the main sign from yesterday even show. I can say that yesterday was like a show, because phrases of some people inside, phrases of J.D. Vance, Vice President J.D. Vance, who has, for me, started this quarrel, not President Zelensky started, it's J.D. Vance who started this quarrel. But finally, we received what received, that President Zelensky didn't sign this deal. But as for me, it was memorandum. It was not serious deal. Now he in London probably will be, because information that I received an hour before our air, that his jet now flying to London. And I think that in nearest days, we will see more talks inside European Union about creation of European military forces. The idea that Emmanuel Macron presented many even years ago, he said that Europe should have its forces, but while US was in game, while US was allied to Europe, in Europe they don't think about that. Now I think it's time to Europe to think about their military forces, to invest money in production of weapons, and to give some part of that weapon to Ukraine. So it will be a hard period for Ukraine, at least next half a year, without probably American support, without Starlink, without intelligence information. But it's a test, first of all, for Europe. So you should more invest in security. And actually, what Trump wanted several months ago, even before election, he said that Europe don't spend enough money for their security. As for another reason of quarrel, the fact that Donald Trump started to use a lot of things created in Russian propaganda, and they're far away from the actual reality. For example, Trump said that the NATO was the reason of this war, but excuse me, Ukraine was not in NATO. Ukraine was not invited to NATO. Donald Trump predecessor, Joe Biden, he said that no, we don't want to see Ukraine in NATO. That's why NATO, it was not the reason. Furthermore, after Russia aggression versus Ukraine, Finland joined the NATO. It means plus 1,200 kilometers of border between NATO and Russia, but Russia don't care, because NATO is not a reason. And unfortunately, Donald Trump repeat Russian phrases, and of course, it's irritate both President Zelensky and.
But let me get clear here. You're saying that Ukraine did not want to join the NATO?
Ukraine want to join the NATO, but right. Our colleagues from West, from NATO, first of all, I said about Joe Biden and some others, even first time Ukraine wanted to be in NATO in 2007, but it was a Bucharest summit where Ukraine received a red light. We received signals that NATO don't want Ukraine to be in NATO. Ukraine wants for whole of history after regaining independence. But I mentioned about this factor because Trump said that NATO is the reason, but Ukraine wasn't NATO and we was not invited from NATO countries. That's why it's lie, but it's not the first time when Donald Trump accused in the White House in lie. Before that, Emmanuel Macron does the same thing. So due to many controversial statements, as for me, that is lie, that even U.S. television says that it's lie repeated by the president of U.S., of course, it's initiate a reaction from Zelensky, from Macron, and I think from other politicians throughout over the Europe.
Right. Let me get here to Professor Singer. And Professor Singer, what do you have, or what's your comment on Mr. Yuwas? Mr. Yuwas said that the deal was supposed to be a kind of the Ukrainian give the U.S. its its minerals for profit, and the United States suddenly said that it will give nothing. What's your take on that? What's your comment?
Yeah, the point of Zelensky, it seems to me it wasn't really the point in the Trump mind. Trump, declared many times that he will ask Zelensky to get back this $350 billion that United States paid to Ukraine. So this is the core of his deal, to control and get access to the rich natural resources in Ukraine. And this is not wasn't the Zelensky mind. Zelensky said, "You guys gave me the money with your will by your U.S. Congress. You approve it. You give it to Ukraine, because Ukraine in the front line to fight Russia, to fight defending Ukraine, to fight defending democracy, to fight defending Europe. So this is different. The situation now is different. So the idea that they have like a bilateral agreement or moment of understanding between United States and Ukraine, this wasn't mine. This wasn't the mind of Zelensky to reshape the idea of Donald Trump. This was the conflict about the mineral deals. But as I said earlier, one of the major problems that Donald Trump, he was interested in getting everything in one meetings. And just after that, he and his vice president gonna to declare, okay, guys, we made the deal, we make it very easy. But that's not the situation, because, Zelensky was really threatened, under huge pressure from Donald Trump and his vice president Vance, that, he claimed that he is really taking, his country in a huge risk. Probably, the shadow of the World War III is coming, and which means nuclear war. This is not, it was for United States and Europe transatlantic relationship. This is under huge threats now. And this is bad news for Europe, bad news for America. But it seems to me like Europe gonna to support Ukraine, gonna to support Zelensky. The situation now between Europe and United States is coming and heating up day after day. It seems to me like all the theories or all the ways that President Trump is trying to push Europe to accept his deal or his mind or his ideas, it seems to me like it's not really accepted. This is what the Macron said, that he said 60% of the Europeans aid non-return. Europe will not ask, it's not loaning Ukraine all the money. It's just part of the money. It's loaning, and that 60% of that money is just aid. Europe will not ask to pay back that amount of
There were
money.
grants.
The situation, yeah, the situation is very difficult because Zelensky probably he astonished by that kind of language and hard language by Trump and Vance. He found that language like it's more even aggressive than Putin language. So this is why the situation will not be easy. That Zelensky could or will come back again to the White House. There is a coming meeting between the European leaders, probably in England, and Zelensky way back to his country, gonna to stop in UK, to discuss further discussion with the European alliance to see what is next to deal with Trump, to see what is next if the United States stop to give any aid or any support to Ukraine. It seems to me like Ukraine already lost, that situation in the UN, where United States, voted with Iran and North Korea. This is really for Americans, even for Americans people, it's really wow, what's going on here, and for Europeans. So it's a big disaster from my point of view.
It's a big shift.
Yeah.
It's a big shift in U.S. Policy towards Ukraine. Now, Mr. Yuas, how will this deal impact Ukraine's relationship relations with Europe, especially regarding its integration into the NATO? That, of course, was off the table with the U.S.
Of course, we received immediately a lot of words of support from European leaders. For example, neighboring with Ukraine country Poland, Prime Minister Donald Tusk wrote a phrase, "Ukraine, you are not alone." We received support from Spain, from Emmanuel Macron from France, from other European countries, from Australia, so not only European countries. So I think that in Europe, and especially taking into account my discussion during the whole yesterday night, with Europeans in different TV channels, I heard the phrase that Europe understands that they are not in one team with US already. And if there is a crack between US and Europe, Ukraine appears to be on European side. Ukraine always want to be country in the European Union. We don't want to be the 51st state of the United States of America. We want to be in Europe, where we are geographically situated. So I think that it can help to improve relationship with Europe even further. I couldn't say that it was so bad. Of course, we understand that there are several countries in Europe, European Union, like Hungary, where with current head of this country, Viktor Orban, we have problems like with Prime Minister of Slovakia, yes, Robert Fico. But I think that Europe so should watch for some countries inside and decide who actually should be, yes, in the European Union and who don't. Thank you.
Unfortunately, Mr. Yuas, I have to end here because my time is out. That was Dr. Ashraf Singer, a world politics analyst, and Mr. Ivan Yuas, an advisor at Ukrainian National Center. We thank you so much for your insights and for your analysis. And I guess that takes us to the end of this episode of In Depth. Many thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more updates on Qnews.